Hello everyone, and welcome to the second in our mini workshop series on how to create video content that actually performs for small and medium businesses. My name is Timothy Zerker. I'm the CEO and owner of A-Train Marketing. We are a national marketing agency that is located right here in Southern Colorado. I'm super passionate about this topic, so let's dive right in. First up, let's quickly review what we covered in our last mini workshop. All right, that was first, why video is so important for businesses these days, why you have to be creating it. Second, the two big categories of video being micro content and macro content, and how you can use them in order to drive business and drive traffic. And lastly, the first four big questions that you have to be asking yourself in order to start forming your video strategy. This mini workshop is all about finishing out what your video strategy and your content plan are. So today is kind of the day where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. So before I start, make sure you get out a pen and paper or your favorite note-taking app, whatever works best for you. I'm going to be asking you a series of questions in today's mini workshop, and the answers to those questions are going to shape your content plan or your video strategy. All right, before we start, make sure you can eliminate as many distractions as possible. Once I start asking the questions, that's really helpful if you can focus as much as possible. I always say that distractions are the enemy of really good creative focus. So let's dive in. All right, question number one. Why do I want to create this video content? Right? What am I directing my audience to do? What am I telling them to understand? What am I teaching them? What do I want them to come away from these videos knowing, wanting, doing? Okay? Always start with the end in mind. That's why this is question number one. All right, question number two. Why should audiences care about what I am saying? Very simple. Why do they care about my opinion over somebody else? Why do they care about the thing that I'm teaching them about? Why do they care to learn about the whole category of thing that I am teaching about? You need to define this really briefly and focused, right? The smaller the definition, the better, because you're going to need to use this in almost every video as your hook. This can be as simple as saying creating videos for businesses is essential to be successful in 2022, right? That's kind of how I started off this video. That tells them why it's worth watching the rest of the video. All right, question number three. Who is my audience? Simple, sounds easy. It's not. It cannot be something vague like anyone who owns a pet. If I provide, pet services, it can't be as something as simple as anyone who owns a business. If you're, a marketing agency like me, no, it has to be very specific. It has to be people of a certain demographic, a certain way of thinking, a certain place, a certain location. Because the more precise you're able to get, the better your messaging is going to be. As the old adage goes, if you try to please everyone, you will end up pleasing no one. It's very true in content creation. So get very specific on that. All right, question number four is, what is the value that I bring to my audience? I know that sounds a little bit like question number two, which is, why does my audience care? But it's not. Question number two is, why do they start watching? Why do they listen to the video? Why do they actually finish out the piece of content you're creating? Step four, though, is figuring out what is it that I can bring to them, whether that is my knowledge or my experience or some special technique or ability or whatever it is, brings more relaxation, more profit, more fun, more excitement, whatever that is, to them and to their lives. You have to be able to define this in order to determine long-term engagement for your audience. What you're giving them has to benefit them long-term. Question number four. All right, question number five. Where is my audience? This is not something that you just go with your gut and you say, I think my audience are Facebook people because I'm Facebook people and that's where I'm going to be. It's not how this works. You need to do your actual research, right? So you take your answer to question number three, right, which is who is my audience, and you search. You can do this really easily. Go on Google and search, where do business owners spend most of their time? Or where do women between 30 and 42 spend most of their time online? And that'll tell you what platforms you need to be on. Really important, because that's how you're going to shape your content here in the next couple of questions. All right, so that leads to question number six. How does the channel that my audience is on, the platform, whether that's Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn or whatever it is, how does that dictate the strategy or the type of content that I create? What trends are really doing well on that platform? What length of videos perform really well on that platform? What type of content performs really well on that platform? And then where can the stuff that I'm doing, that I'm creating, play into those trends to really make the biggest impact? All right, question number seven. What are my strategy or strategies to turn my audience members into buyers of my product, service, whatever? Again, sounds simple. It's not, and it's actually really good for this question if you have multiple answers, right? You should have a lot of different ways for audience members to become customers or buyers. It can be as simple as mixing in an action call to the end of a video saying, if you want to learn more, check out my website. Or it can be as, a little bit more complex as saying, this thing I just now told you about, I have a free downloadable guide. Comment your email and I'll send it to you directly. Whatever it is, make sure that it's not too pushy and not too constant, right? It can't be in every single video. It can't always be a sales pitch, or people are going to be uninterested in listening to you and following you, right? And it doesn't have to be immediate, right? Maybe you create 5 or 6 pieces of content before you ever have a call to action. That's totally okay. Whatever you think is going to fit with your audience well is where you should go. All right, question number 8. What could my first topics be? This is pure ideation, so write down as many things as you possibly can. This is just pure ideas or questions maybe that you can answer inside of videos. Some good prompts would be, what is the funniest story that your customers have ever told you about a competitor service or products? What is a common misconception that people have about your industry that you can help clear up? What is a common question that people don't have an answer to that you either know the answer to or that your service provides the answer to? Write down as many of those as you can. That's going to be really important for kind of our next phase as we start actually picking out what are our first topics for the first couple of videos we're going to do. Last question number 9, is when am I actually going to be able to execute on all of these ideas, on all of this awesome content strategy that I've come up with? This is the time when you have to actually set a block of time on your calendar for you to actually do this. Now, for some people, they really can't do it in the office, so they have to figure out a time to work on this at home when they're away from employees and ringing phones and customer problems and whatever it is. For others that live off their calendars like I do, I have to block it on my calendar, and then I turn my phone off, turn off my email, disconnect my computer from the internet so that I can actually work and focus without random interruptions coming in all the time. From now or a week from now, and then hold yourself to it, right? When it comes, don't say, yeah, but I could go to the pool this afternoon instead. Actually sit down and do it, right? Make yourself do it. The first video, the first little set of videos is always the hardest. It always gets easier after you push yourself through that first creative session. All right, that is it for today's workshop. Thank you so much for joining. Please make sure you stay tuned for our next workshop. We're going to be covering some of the logistics of creating your first set of videos. That includes things like basic lighting and equipment needs, etc. There's a whole list. It should be a lot of fun. If any of the questions in today's workshop really confused you or you need help answering them, please feel free to reach out. Me and my team have done this for many clients. We're happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you so much, and we will see you at the next mini workshop.